Welcome to the Peapod, and just like the peas in a peapod, each human is here to have experiences that will contribute to the growth of all. Here at the Peapod, we will examine some of these experiences and glean the lessons learned, the truth and come to a deeper understanding through our sharing. So grab your popcorn, get comfortable, maybe even a paper and pen, and get ready for an amazing time with your hostess, Teri Angel, a woman on a mission to bring change, especially in the arena of peace, into our world. And here she is.
Thank you, Jim Mershon, who actually is joining us today. Welcome, everybody. I'm Teri Angel, your host, and I'm here with two amazing people. MarBeth Dunn is joining us in the studio, along with Jim Mershon. So welcome to both of you today.
Oh, it's great to be here.
We're here to talk about our big project we have going, 10 million for world peace. And I want to start out with just a couple of messages about peace. These quotes by Thich Nhat Hanh. Every breath we take, every step we make can be filled with peace, joy, and serenity. I believe that with all my heart. I believe that it is our conscious intention for us to do that, and it will happen. Baba Hari Das says, don't search for anything except peace. Try to calm the mind. Everything else will come on its own. It looks like we're going to have musical chairs here today. So bear with us, people. And thank you all, everyone who's finding us already. Thank you for coming and being with us today. And let's just do a little revisit, MarBeth, about this project that we have going, the 10 million for world peace. It's been in existence for a couple of months now.
It was birthed on this podcast on February 6th.
Yes. So do you want to share our vision?
Our vision for 10 million people to come together, meditating in one mind, moving into the field of love and peace and miracles. 10 million people together, focused on world peace and focusing on the leaders of our world, as well as all the other sentient beings on the planet, so that the leaders can have more peaceful outcomes, more peaceful goals, and a goal of world peace, a goal of working together to generate that peace.
We have developed a website. If you would like to find the background, the backstory, and some of the meditations that have already been done, and our project and what we're hoping, not hoping, what we're going to achieve.
What we're achieving.
What we're doing and moving forward with. This is the website. It is 10millionforworldpeace.org. And something very important on that website, there are buttons you can push to join us, to be a volunteer. We're going to talk about that today, to donate, to help this cause go out in a big way. So this website is Ground Central. You can go there and just keep abreast of all the happenings and join in the fun. And isn't it fun to be involved in something like this?
It's amazing. And what I didn't add before, for those who do not know, this mission that we have, this this passion that we have for peace, is basically based on a world miracle peace experiment from 5 years ago. when a smaller group, a much smaller group than 10 million, at times there were 50, at times maybe 100, and we focused on peace, on world peace, with a special focus on the Middle East. And during the 6 months of our world peace experiment, where we focused in this field of love and peace and miracles, we focused on the Middle East, we had independent statistics that showed that the level of violence dropped over 20%. It's amazing, that the power of our mind is amazing. And we just learned our particular blog post this week features the ancient, 400-year-old psychic, 500-year-old psychic, Nostradamus, who made incredible predictions that have been researched over and over by thousands of people trying to figure out what he had to say. And what he had to say about a lot of things was very dire and very horrible to even contemplate. But he did say that the power of our mind is amazing, and that when we multiply, when we gather together, our power of our minds together goes tenfold. So, for example, if 100 people are meditating, it's the power of 10,000 people. But the power of 10 million people multiplied, how much is that? 100 million? 100 million. 100 million.
Isn't that like a billion?
It's too big to even grasp for me.
Oh, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that blog can be found on the website. There's a tab you can push and just go right to the blog and read that one. We have two blogs on it,
Yes.
so we encourage you to check out both of those.
Yeah, the first one by you, which was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Inspired. And I'll be posting them in our 10 million for world peace Facebook group as well. I'll be posting the new blog. The other one is already there.
And I have the Facebook group right here. So if you're not a part of us yet, please join us on Facebook, because you get notifications on there of everything we're doing, like the show today, the podcast, and the meditations every Sunday at 1:11 p.m. Eastern Time. MarBeth and I, and hopefully our third, Maureen, will be on every Sunday. Maureen's out of the country right now, so she hasn't been available to us for the last week or so. But we are going to be meditations every Sunday geared toward world peace and focused on our leaders. And we would love to have as many as possible on those meditations and sharing them out. That's what you can do to help, along with volunteering. And we have some special with us today. We have our Jim Mershon. Jim,
Thank you.
we're so happy that you have joined us in this venture.
Well, it was your last Tuesday's P podcast where I just happened to have the time. I'm so, as we all have such busy schedules, and I just miss so many of what you guys have to offer out there. And I happened to have the time to sit down, and it was you guys talking about the 10 million for world peace. And I was abuzz with, yes, I got to do something. And it's interesting. Some time ago, a few years ago, before I even began opening my eyes, so to speak, this concept of, with all of the negative things going on in the world, what if a bunch of people could get together and collectively be positive? And it's not like it was just me, you know, some of my friends have this idea. I mean, this is, I'm sure, an idea so many people all over the planet have thought of, but then it takes folks like yourselves to put it together and create this wonderful forum that can actually implement, hey, let's all get together and, you know, the meditation, do the positive energy to affect change. So it's, yeah, it's just a wonderful thing you guys have created here. Yeah, and I can only hope there are so many other people out there who just happen to run across what's going on here.
Speaking of synchronicities,
Mm,
I mentioned Nostradamus because we have another wonderful volunteer, Ronnie Ryan, who wrote the blog about Nostradamus. And she had sent me a video and said, "Is this too far out? Is this going to be a good topic?" I said, "Absolutely." The video that she sent was of an amazing woman named Dolores Cannon,
mm,
who was a hypnotherapist and a regressionist. And she was regressing a client and went into a past life the woman had as a student of Nostradamus. When Nostradamus said, "I want to talk to her."
mhm,
Now, for that to happen, he was actually time warped. So he was in the 15th century
right.
and she was in the 20th century in 1980s when this happened. And he wanted to set the record straight about his quatrains that had all of the different predictions in them. Now, I had never heard of her before, but I was like, yes, this is an amazing, amazing article. Go ahead and write it. The next day, James volunteered.
Uh,
And his background, why don't you tell everybody about your background? It's amazing. The
Well,
synchronicity.
right. A few years ago, I found Dolores Cannon and became absolutely enamored, fascinated with her story and the work that she's done, and have become a practitioner myself. Um, and yeah, I've, for quite a while, I was just binge watching any uh, YouTube videos or you know, whatever I could find with Dolores Cannon, and getting into her books, and you know, and then also being the practitioner and following in the footsteps of her work. Right. So then I can't remember who brought up the name Dolores Cannon first, you or I, but yeah, we both sort of, what, wait, what? Dolores
No,
Cannon,
Terry
and
had
you came
told
in,
me, Terry had
right,
told me that
right,
you were, I won't say a devotee, but you're definitely in her tradition
a
as a
huge fan,
regressionist.
a
Yeah.
huge fan. I just think the work that she did was just groundbreaking. She's such a pioneer, and the people that she has helped over her vast career. And then when she got into the teaching others how to do it, just to carry on, it's just so helpful. And the whole story, her story with Nostradamus, I found equally fascinating. And maybe what sort of connects here, she talks about how, yeah, it got to the point where they could connect pretty much directly. And right, it was in, he's in the 1400s, 1500s, I forget. She's
1500s. Yeah.
now, but it's as though there were no time. It's
It's an
because there isn't.
illusion.
Right. Um, and yeah, his point was everybody's got it wrong. Um, it's the predictions. It was, here's what will happen if you don't do something to change it. And that was the point. And some things have been changed, and many haven't. but sort of like what you folks are creating. Here's a chance for everyone to pitch in, and let's change some of those predictions that we don't want to come about. Um, and then here we always have the chance, right? As you're teaching all the time, Teri, choice. We have these choices. So right, we need to get out the word, get people interested, and let's make those choices for change.
It definitely is a choice. And I love this whole story about Nostradamus because for years I've known that time was an illusion, that, it's something that we created so we can keep up with what time we have to be on the air or what time we have to be at work, and we have to have that part of it. But that's not real when we go into the whole energy of everything that is.
Mm,
What's happening is all happening. It didn't happen. It won't happen in the future. It's already happening. And that's why I love what we're doing. This 10 million that are already here. They're already, we just
already.
put them all
Yes.
together.
So the
right.
other thing that Nostradamus said was that in the 2000s, if we made it through the 90s, then we would
Mm,
be over the hump. Although it doesn't necessarily look that way if you look at a map of all of the countries that are at war or
mm,
having experiencing domestic terrorism or conflict. But he said that in the 2000s that there we could usher in 1,000 years of peace by
mm,
minds joining together, which is exactly what we're being guided to do.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, that is
It,
our vision.
So
and
I,
that's
I got so
inspiration.
excited that I went out and I bought her first book. She has three books on Nostradamus. I,
Hmm.
I have been just so amazed by this book. It's just phenomenal, really phenomenal. And I'm just, her professionalism was just so, everything was documented, everything was audio taped, witnesses, for some of the crazier aspects of what were happening, because this is not something that would normally have happened in a regression. Do you want to speak on that, James?
Um, well, I think um, for Dolores, anyways, she's had many. Well, how many books has she written? How much material has she collected over the decades? Um, she was able to pull out a lot of amazing information, and then with the Nostradamus series focuses on all of that amazing stuff. Um, so it's truly unique and inspirational material, but she had the ability to come up with information that's so just amazing and incredible in so many uh, different areas. Um, but I think everything she did was pretty amazing and monumental. So I might be a little biased with that.
That's okay. So I've had past life regression and I found it incredibly illuminative and helpful in my growth. And I was just wondering how her techniques differed from those of other practitioners.
Oh, well, I think really it would just come down to experience. The way that she teaches it, and then her daughter, uh, and the way they have developed the school, it's all the same technique. They keep it very. Uh, it doesn't change. I mean, what Dolores developed, and she developed
it over lots of trial and error, lots of practice, and what she came up with works. And going through the courses, Julia speaks to this. Well, Julia and her whole team remind people, don't mess with what works, because there are lots of people who, and some other practitioners that I've worked with, I'll notice they kind of put their own spin on it. And I even kind of thought, well, geez, why would you do that? It works pretty good the way it is. So there isn't a lot uh, different in how practitioners are doing it now than the way Dolores did it, because what she did works, and just keep doing that. Um, but as she says, with the vast majority of sort of the past life regressions are what she would always call the digging potatoes lives, just very simple, what might be considered boring lives. But there's always something in there for the client that resonates, that triggers whatever it is that they need from that session. But yeah, the vast majority are just very uh, kind of simple things. Although I think a lot of practitioners, especially those who have been doing it for a long time, would say in the more recent years there might be uh, fewer past lives, and we're going into other realms, uh, uh, other dimensions, other planets, things of that nature. Are picking up as the whole vibration of everything is sort of raised, going up. But the techniques of how people are brought into the past lives have not changed. It's the same thing Dolores has been doing. And again, why would you mess with what works?
Well, I love the way that she was able. Well, I think Nostradamus was an incredible being. He had developed his mind capacity. He keeps disappearing. His mind capacity in such a way that he was able to access other realms and teach others to go into metaphysical studies. And at the same time, he had to keep it very secretive, and that's why he hid the meanings of his
Right,
predictions, because he lived in the time of the Inquisition, and people were very superstitious. They just
correct.
they would have, he would have gotten the rack, you know.
Yes,
So
Exactly.
yes.
he had to be very careful and hide what he was doing, but he was able to use hypnosis of sorts. I don't know, what he did exactly, but in surgery, so people didn't feel pain, they would be very calm, and they were able to stop their blood from flowing heavily, so that he was able, with these techniques,
Hmm.
so the surgeon, as a surgeon, he could sew up, the wound without a lot of blood, and the patient would be very calm, and they would recuperate faster. Whereas he couldn't share this with other surgeons, and they just couldn't figure out why
Hmm.
his patients were healing so much faster. I think it's
Right.
so fascinating that he was able to, he used a mirror, like an ancient mirror that was cloudy. When he looked in it, it would become clear, and he would go into this other dimension where he could
Right.
meet Dolores. It's just so interesting.
Right. Well, and how fortunate all of us are to be uh, in this space where now uh, we're not going to get burnt at the stake. We can
So
actually
true.
be free in these discussions and catch people's attention and have people actually go, "Oh, what a great idea!" or "I never thought of this." It's accepted and becoming uh, part of what we do now.
Yeah,
I,
well, yeah, I mean, Jesus said it like 2,000 years ago. You know, like when minds are joined, two or more are gathered.
Hmm.
That's when miracles happen. It's all in this power of the mind. And
Absolutely.
and when he said that I can't remember the exact quote, but that Nostradamus, that that the power of our mind multiplies tenfold,
Hmm.
tenfold when we're gathered together. So if we when we
Yes,
when we gather 10 million people together focused on peace, look out world.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And it will, yeah, it'll just snowball from there. I fully believe. Um,
Yeah. And Jim, like you were saying, we're here now in this now time, and we have all these resources just at our fingertips. And so we chose to come here for such a time as this, when we can pull all of this together and learn from Nostradamus, learn from Dolores Cannon. And I've been familiar with past life regression for
yes.
decades, and I learned from Brian Weiss. Actually, I learned from one of my mentors who was a student of Brian Weiss, and I learned how to do past life regressions from. And it's
Mm,
very similar. Brian Weiss really did not deviate that much from Dolores's teachings at
mm,
all.
nice.
Yeah, my past life regression was also from someone who had studied with Brian Weiss.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you, it totally changed my life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It's helpful. And I love, Jim, I've been with you at a couple of retreats now where you have led us in a past life regression. And the one thing that comes out that I love at the very end is, what do we learn from it? It's not just imagining it, but what do we learn from going into those other life streams and seeing what we need to know during this current life stream?
Absolutely. And which is kind of the point. Um, and I run into the occasional person who uh, they're just curious,
Mhm.
and we'll go through the past life and we'll talk about it. And they, yeah, that was cool, thanks. But by far, most of the people really walk away with, wow, okay, now I understand. They now have a focus that will help them work through the issues that they've been having. Just give them either some peace or some focus. Um, and and this took me a while to really grasp, but it's working with our higher self. It's just putting us in that place where we can relax enough to work with ourself in essence, uh, and that's just surrender and listen, and not surrender like uh, if you're. I always had trouble swimming, and I could never like just float in the water. I always would spaz out and just start because I sank like a rock. But once I finally learned to just surrender and just lay in the water, it wasn't surrendering as in giving up. It was surrendering as in becoming a part of what I am in, and just going with it. And then everything just came together. So just to define what I mean by surrenders. I find some people have trouble with that word.
That was actually the angel message for last night from the blog that they write every night for us. It was
Oh,
surrender. Surrender is our superpower.
yes.
And it's not, like you said, it's not giving up, it's going into the flow of everything.
And
Not
giving
fighting.
over.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So then that's what, one of the things that a QHHT session can help people with,
Mhm.
to let go of that, uh, the blocking, the tensions, uh, and right, go with it.
So let me ask you, Jim, do you do your sessions remotely or are they always in person?
Oh, no, always in person. Yeah, there is no. You could do a group session remotely because that's a very casual, fun thing to do, and you don't get into that deep of a trance state. But a one-on-one must be in person. And Dolores Cannon was very adamant about that. And Julia Cannon follows suit. And it makes sense because you are working with a deeper level of hypnosis. And God forbid you're in the middle of something and, the power goes out or you lose connection and you have uh, you're separated from your client in the middle of who knows what. Not to mention, it's oh how to it's like a dance. We're both involved. Um,
Hmm.
we need to be there. I need to be able to watch the client. You're listening uh, to their voice. You're watching their facial expressions. You can begin to see if they're getting a little starting to move into something traumatic, and then you can guide them through that so that it's more comfortable for them to go through certain aspects. Which if we were doing this uh, over social media, I might not even realize that they're beginning to go into something pretty heavy, and that wouldn't be good. So yeah. So the short answer, yes, one-on-one in person.
Okay. No, I know I've experienced group meditations with Brian Weiss a couple of times at the Hay House. I Can Do It. And he
Hmm.
also did instead of the regression, he did progression
Yep.
and went forward, which
Yes.
was kind of fun.
That is fun. We just did that recently. One to do.
Nice. Yep.
Was that at your last retreat, Terry?
It was, yes, the one in
Yes.
Sedona. Yeah, Jim
Yes.
was there for that.
Debbie did that. Yeah, that was nice.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool.
And
So I
then,
love that Nostradamus showed up and that it was so synchronicitous
mm,
that Jim showed up right after I learned about Dolores.
right.
And I had never heard of her until Sunday.
Yep, it was meant to be.
Yep.
It's all divine time. I've been a follower of hers for years, and we got to go grab Jim back in here.
It's I'm up here in the sticks, and my Wi-Fi is pretty,
Yeah,
especially this time of night when all of a sudden everybody's getting home from work and jumping in.
right.
So I get less of it to work with. Sorry about that.
No,
It's
there's no
okay.
apologies needed.
Keep, keeps us on our toes.
That's right. So I think we can talk now about what we need. We need volunteers.
We
Mm,
need volunteers.
yes.
Yeah, and let's talk about what we need, Marbeth, specifically, because we're just jumping off the ground here, and we need a lot of help because this is a big mission.
It's a very big mission. I had a call today with one of the press release services. And, I just said, there's no way when he told me his prices and bundles of prices. And even if it would save us a third, it was thousands of dollars, which we don't have, to get the word out to people. We have our writer who wrote the blog this week on Nostradamus. Ronnie is wonderful. We need a social media person, someone who can help us because while Teri and I are very well qualified to do videos and Facebook posts, we need somebody dedicated to doing it for us. And just, 10 hours a month, maybe we could have a couple of people to do that. We need someone to help book podcasts and TV shows for us, radio shows. We need exposure. We need somebody to help write press releases and then get them out manually, you know? So we need donations. And we need volunteers. We as a nonprofit, we've received $10,000 a month in Google ads, but we can't use them yet. We need to have somebody who knows what they're doing with them. So, there's lots of ins and outs. We need coordination. We need organization. What else do we need, Terry?
We need people to spread the.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, when we put out a video or we put out a press release, to send that out into your groups, not just on Facebook, but all social media. If you can make a tweet, if you can put it on Instagram
We
and
need
any of them at all.
connections. We need connections to other groups. Even if you can't volunteer, can you connect us with people who would be organizations that can help us um, amalgamate, just get so many more people involved. We would love to collaborate with other organizations. From the last piece project that I did, I have organizations that I'm going to be reaching out to also, but this is huge.
Mm,
10 million people is huge, and sometimes it feels a little overwhelming. There's so many things to do. Um, but volunteers in so many ways that I can't even think of yet.
correct.
Absolutely. And we're building up to September, where we are going to do 21 days of the World Peace, 10 Million for World Peace Project. So we need people that will keep that out there in front of everyone. And then during those 21 days, the volunteers will be helping us to get the message out every day. So
Absolutely.
it's
Mm,
very,
And also, if you are media savvy, we need you. Even an hour a week would be so helpful. You know, this is a huge project, and really the fate of our planet. Fate of our planet depends on this. I was so excited to read those messages, to see the messages from Nostradamus, because I'd already always heard doom and gloom from Nostradamus, and I'd read some of the quatrains, which I totally could not understand. And people were saying, oh, yeah, that refers to Hitler, and that refers to the Antichrist, and that's Saddam Hussein. I mean, I remember hearing these things, but to hear this positive, joining minds, your minds are powerful. You can use them to create peace. That message from Nostradamus touched my soul. And it's like
mm,
such corroboration. The world peace experiment, we already proved it, that we could affect world, peace in the Middle East. But what if 10 million people came together, focused on world leaders creating a sustained peace for our planet? Think about that. You can be part of that.
absolutely.
and it can happen, right? If nothing else, whoever is catches on to this and listens, if nothing else, share, just
It's a
share,
huge vision.
And
right?
hold the vision with us. There
Mm,
is such power in intention. This is what we're doing. We're setting an intention that there's going to be a shift in our world. There's going to be a change toward peace and away from all the conflict and all the heaviness of the things that have been happening in our world. So we're holding that intention. I know the power of intention. I know that when two or more are gathered, as was mentioned earlier, that just exponentially makes that intention go out even further and wider in its scope. And that's what we're wanting. We're wanting this 10 million to all hold the intention of peace. What what better thing can we hold an intention for? in my opinion.
And it doesn't need to be, something that, a days long prayer vigil. With the world peace experiment, it was 7 minutes a day,
Right.
7 minutes a day, going out into the field all together, bringing our minds out into the field of love and peace and miracles, and then focusing in on the Middle East and the whole planet as well.
Hmm.
But we could measure that, and we're going to have independent statistics for this. But what I loved was Nostradamus saying that nothing is locked in stone,
Right.
that we have the capacity to change everything. So we can do that. And what a corroboration that was.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So another thing that I noticed um, when I was able to join your meditation on Sunday at 1:11, which what a wonderful time. Um, Going through your meditation, I mean, it was wonderful, and uh, I guess a little selfishly, I felt amazing afterwards. I mean, let alone the idea of spreading out this wonderful energy out into the world. I felt great.
It always comes back to you. That's
Right,
the thing, because giving
right,
and receiving are the same. It's a spiritual law.
right. And I
So,
would mention to anyone, jump on and join, and you will reap the rewards as well, or the benefits, like any meditation. It was truly inspiring by what you were doing. And I was just so amazed at how rejuvenated and wondering, the whole buzz, and I felt wonderful. And not only a couple of times, I just happened to, I'm perusing uh, YouTube when I'm traveling, because I'm, like Terry, I'm in the car a lot, just listening to it while I'm driving. Just a random time. It's You guys weren't even all doing it. I wanted to listen for that short amount of time. And again, just felt rejuvenated, and I could keep driving quite a bit longer.
well, what I have found, with the last experiment, that the energy, I intended that the energy would stay in the meditation, in the video. So anybody that did the meditation afterwards, it would increase the power. And now
It
we learned
does.
it's tenfold.
It does. No, it's amazing. So, right, not only is it benefiting the world, but ourselves as well.
And one of the things we're going to start to do are oh, there he goes again, are our conversations about peace.
Oh boy.
Let's talk
Hi.
about that, MarBeth, please.
Yeah, so we're in the last experiment. I keep bringing it back because it was so powerful. I brought in other people who were very powerful in so many ways to interview them in a conversation about peace. And we're going to be bringing in some amazing personalities, and you'll learn about them and their visions and their thoughts and their philosophies. And it's going to be very exciting. So that's upcoming in our 10 million for world peace page and group.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
so we'll keep you posted on that. And I'm very excited about that because got some amazing people we're going to be interviewing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and we're open for suggestions. So if you know somebody that's out there, hitting the pavement and making a way for others to join together for world peace, let us
Hmm.
know. There's a lot happening out there. There's a lot of people that want peace in our world and are up off the couch and putting their feet on the ground and saying, let's do it. So if you know of somebody, just send us a message and let us know that might be somebody we want to talk to. Conversations.
Oh, we would love that. And Teri, would you put the volunteer link up on the page again? It's very simple to volunteer. Sign up at tinyurl.com/. Now, this is case sensitive. So the TMWP, 10 million for world peace, is in caps and volunteer is lowercase. So tinyurl.com/TMWP volunteer.
And I can attest to signing up to volunteer was so simple.
God bless Jotform.
It was wonderful.
Yes, I love Jotform. Yes, so we're holding a vision that we are going to have people signing up. And that's our call to action for you today. If this is touching you, like at the beginning of the show, that he just felt that urge. So if you're feeling that, hey, this is something I could get on board with, and yeah, I think I'm supposed to be getting up and doing something and not just sitting back and waiting for other people to do it. A call to
Yeah,
action.
because if we don't do it, I mean, Nostradamus had some pretty dire predictions. If we don't get off our butts and focus on world peace, and it's not something that we have to, do manual labor for. It's just a matter of our powerful minds coming together in a spirit of love and peace, and seeing it, being it, experiencing it, knowing it. We can do this.
Absolutely. That's perfect.
We can do this. So just feel into your hearts. Just see if it feels right. See if it resonates with you. And see if you can set a vision for world peace. So many
Together.
times we have this idea that this is, and this is something where we are focusing on our leaders. The leaders of the world are making decisions, and it involves all of us. It involves you that's sitting there right now listening to this. So wouldn't you want to be a part of something that influencing them to make decisions toward peace in whatever way you see that in your world? I know I do. I'm on board.
Yes.
Together we can create a peaceful, happy planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can.
Here,
And yes,
here.
we are. We're doing it.
We are.
Yeah,
I can envision it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
absolutely. You know, every night I'm part of a group that chants for world peace. We chant for more peace to come into our worlds, to be moved out of the way so that we can keep moving forward with this. And we developed a mantra that we say every night, and it's something I fully believe with all my heart. And that mantra is, I declare that there is peace on earth. Declare that that peace begins inside of me. So I want you to think about that and think about how this can happen so easily with us holding that vision in our hearts, holding that peace inside of us. What can I do? How can I contribute? Whether that's with money, with your time, with sharing, with just participating in our intention holding. So think about what you can do, what your part is in bringing peace into our world. Inspiration right along with us that there is peace in our world. And let's just see it spreading far and wide all over the globe. It's time.
Amen.
Yes.
So we hope that you have enjoyed what we brought to you today. We put up the website, we put up the volunteer information. And on the website, you can just click that button and it'll take you right to any of this where you can donate, where you can join in and volunteer. And you can see all the wonderful stuff we're already doing. and it's going to just grow exponentially from here. So get in here with us right now while we're doing it, and while you can be a part of it and really feel good about this accomplishment that is happening. Thank you, MarBeth. I love you so much,
Thank
and
you,
I'm so
Teri.
we're here in divine time for us both to hear the message to start this, and we did. And
No
here's where we
accidents. No accidents. I'm
are.
so grateful to be doing this with you and Maureen. It it was a huge project before, but this is monumental. So I'm so grateful for you
Absolutely. And
and
Jim,
all your blessedness.
what a blessing you
Well,
are, Jim, to us and to the world. Thank you for joining in today with this discussion.
thank you, wonderful ladies, for allowing me to be a part of this. You are all just so inspirational and yeah, amazing. Thank you. Love you guys.
So we'll be back next week on the Peapod every Tuesday at 5 o'clock. And who knows what we'll talk about next week. World peace again. It will be that for sure. And let's see who else wants to come on and talk about this important mission. And hopefully our Maureen will be back soon, and we'll hear her input as well. I want you all to get to know her because she's so beautiful and so dedicated to our world. So thank you again. Check out the website, check out the Facebook page and the group, and come be with us. And don't forget, mark your calendars, Sundays at 1:11 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be on doing our next meditation. So much. MarBeth, Jim, blessings to you.
Oh, thank you.
Blessings to you, Teri, for all you do.
Love you guys.
Love you. Take
Love
good
you
care,
guys.
everyone. Bye now.